All right, so wellness. Wellness is a big thing right now. Wellness is becoming a regular conversation in most spaces. And like any other things in the world, we find a way to commoditize these, is that a word? These activities, products, and so forth. In any event, wellness is joining this space in a number of ways. We you know, there are mindfulness apps and meditation apps. Of course, people sell the incense and the meditation mats and cushions and chairs and seats. The accessories, I guess you would say, for this space of mindfulness. But anyway, but wellness specifically, of course, we have gym memberships, right? We have aromatherapy. We do sound baths, the breathwork facilities. We go on retreats. Costa Rica, other places. We go to resorts. We go to health spas. Okay, what spas? An interesting development that we've been looking at. And this is coming from, what is this? I think it's from December 12th here. One second, let me open this up a little further. Social wellness clubs in cities. Social wellness clubs in New York City. A novel trend has emerged where social interactions are centered around wellness activities rather than traditional nightlife. Remedy Place, founded by Jonathan Leary, exemplifies this shift by offering services such as vitamin IV drips, cryotherapy, their group-oriented amenities, ice baths, saunas, and unique bottle service with premium water. Okay, come up with all kinds of stuff. Memberships start at a mere $9,000 a year. We can do the math monthly. What does that break out to? I don't know. Let's see here. 9,000, divide that by our $750 a month. Very interesting. I don't think that's in the average person's price range, but it all depends on how important wellness, community, and socializing is for you. The owner here, Mr. Leary, aims to gather extensive data to gain insurance coverage for these treatments, just like some of insurances will cover your health club memberships. That would be a phenomenal move in the health and wellness space. So we'll keep an eye on this. And this was, what does this come out? New York Post, by the way. New York Post, published December 12th. New York Post online. Let's go. And let's keep it moving. So what do we have here? Now, I don't know what you guys think about that, but I like the idea of looking at insurance to subsidize. I mean, you're paying for it anyway. To subsidize some of the costs for preventative health. This is preventative. Now, I don't know about the premium bottle service kind of jazz, or whatever that is, but maybe the vitamin IV drips. I don't know. I don't know about the hyperbaric chambers either, but the concept is a good concept, and maybe we'll get to a space where we're looking at more reasonable every person process. Like if you want to go to a spa, is that something that we can factor into our insurance coverage? I see premiums increasing. I see them rising if we move in that direction. But in any event, okay. So that's the wellness clubs. Maybe coming to a city near you, me, and anybody else. How about hotel stays? Now, when you go to hotels, you'll see that they'll have spas. They'll have opportunity to sign up for cucumber wraps or seaweed wraps or mud baths and all that kind of stuff. But as of late, luxury hotels are incorporating advanced wellness programs to cater to their affluent. I'm reading this as we speak. Their affluent clientele. Again with the IV drips. Okay. I think there was an issue or video with what's the guy, Sean Combs, and his mom on an IV drip. So we know this is not a new thing, but it's a popular conversation lately. And this is coming from Business Insider. Let's get this up here on the screen. I know you guys can't see this, but you know, what have you. Let me see here. www.businessinsider.com. The previous article was the www.nypost.com. But this is, again, Business Insider. Here's the title here. Rich people are obsessed with longevity. Okay. And luxury hotels are cashing in by charging guests up to $40,000 for IV drips. And get this, MRIs before they hit the pool. Can you imagine that? This is fairly anyway. So what are we doing, man? This trend reflects a growing demand for science-driven health solutions. All right. The global wellness market was valued at $5.6 trillion in 2022. Trillion. Yeah, interesting. With the longevity sector projected to reach approximately 610 billion by the next year. So we're talking 2023. We'll see where that is currently now as we look at some newer, more current conversations. But again, this did come out this year in October. This article here in Business Insider. So we look at some of the discussion conversations or the discussion points of this. Economic impact, right? Substantial financial investment in wellness services highlight a growing economic significance of the wellness industry. What type of work or what type of ideas do you have for engaging in business and entrepreneurship, or if you're a wellness healer or teacher in that space, you know, is there a business acumen that you want to try or test out in this market? It could be interesting to see what plays out. Okay, it really could be interesting to see. Back to this article again, real quickly though. You know, some establishments. There's one place called the One and Only. There's this luxury hotel catering to the wealthy, obviously with the longevity services. One and Only, Four Seasons Maui, and then a place called the Canyon Ranch. And have established specialized longevity hubs. And there are some new ventures, and I'll do some research on this one later. But the new ventures such as the Estate, founded by Tony Robbins and Sam Nazarian, dedicated to some preventive medicine, preventive health dynamic. So I'll be very interested to see how that plays out. But again, these things are catering to probably the uber rich, or definitely the influent, definitely the well connected. What's the trickle down? Well, what is, again, economic impact? What's the trickle down to the regular person, the regular middle class American person who likes the idea of longevity, likes the idea of living healthy for longer, you know. And generally, we have to do things on our own, and that's accountability. So you take situations where you'll learn how to best care for yourself, and you take action. It's one of the reasons why we're having these conversations, is because we want people to be aware of the kind of things that are going on in the health and wellness space. It's important for us, and we know that it's important for you. We want to be healthier. We want to live healthy. We want to make better choices about where we go and what we eat and how we spend our time. What we think about, how we think. course, going into my space of mindfulness and that wellness space, what we think about and how we process our emotions and being with ourselves. These are important preventative, alternative health strategies, but economic impact. Right. How about accessibility and inclusivity? We're talking about this. The high costs associated with these wellness trends raise questions about who can access these services and the widening of the health disparities. Social determinants of health. Social determinants of health. Economics is one of these things, right? Where you live, obviously, the neighborhood being a safe neighborhood and all that. These things play into your education and your career, But income is a huge factor. It's a large percentage of the issues of disparity with health comes by way of how much money you can make, how much money you earn. What is your disposable income? That's a better way to say it. What can you spend on things that aren't essentials? Right? What do you have over that? And I don't think most people in the world have the extras for some of these things and better health care. But anyway, what do you think about it? What's your opinion on that? Validation by science. What is the efficacy of certain wellness treatments? Like the IV drips. I don't know. That's conversation for another day. By the way, this is the first installment of conversation that we're having like this. We have been thinking about doing this for quite a while, and just to get the logistics together and the time to really focus on gathering the data, gather the information, and bring the conversation, a robust conversation about health and wellness. We want to be able to do that and not just shoot from the hip and just have a general conversation. We wanted to bring some real information to the table, right? These disparities. Well, no, I'm sorry. Scientific validation. Okay. Have you guys heard about the body scans? These full body scans and these places. We'll talk about that in another clip. But I mean, the full body MRIs, right, for early cancer detection. This is debated amongst health professionals. But why? We want to have I want to have a more in-depth conversation about that. So as we push this out, I want to push this conversation out. Those that are in that space, where are the conversations being had? Obviously, we can look some things up here. We have the entire world at our disposal because we have internet access, so we don't really need necessarily personal interaction to get the information. But I think it makes for a more interesting dialogue when you have a real person as opposed to just reading words from a page. But yeah, this is a debate. What is the evidence? I remember a story, not even about necessarily. It was about technology. That it was years ago, a long time ago. There's an actress named Fran Drescher, and this is old news, and she talked about this publicly, so I'm not exposing anything. She was diagnosed with breast cancer years ago. I think she's doing fine now. Everything worked out. But one of the things that happened was she had noticed, she talked about this on some 10, 15 years ago. It's a long time ago. Anyway, she talked about not feeling right. She knew something was going on with her body, but she had gone to her doctor and to no avail. Like, oh yeah, everything is fine. You're good. But she said that she stated that she knew that something else was happening. So she went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and she finally got to a place where there was a test that they could administer, which was pricey. And I hope I'm getting this story correctly. I don't know what the numbers were, but it was a test that's not an early detection of breast cancer test. It might even be widely available today. I'm not sure. Not a woman It's not something that's in my wheelhouse, but I remember this story because it spoke to two things we're talking about here: exclusivity, health disparity. Three things: exclusivity, health disparity, and the scientific validation of methods, testing methods. So this method is available, but it's so expensive that at the time having an insurance company cover this was, I guess it was, the evidence wasn't there. Okay, that this was a worthwhile test. There wasn't enough usage to justify paying for this as a preventative, well, not even a preventative, as a diagnostic tool. Okay, but Fran Drescher was able to have this test, and lo and behold, cancer. Caught it in time, early enough for her to do something about it, and it's a good story, right? So now we get to these full body MRIs and using them for example, early cancer detection. What is the data? Is there enough data to make this working like it is? Is it though? This isn't an expose. This is just a conversation. So anyway, full body MRIs, what's going on there? What does the research say? We'll dig more into all of these things in the upcoming weeks as we push forward with this conversation. I think we want to continue to have these conversations publicly. In any event, cultural shifts. What are we talking about here? Again, we're moving towards a space where wellness is a common conversation. I've even heard young people, or heard stories of young people that are using these catchphrases or buzzwords like safe spaces and emotional battery and things of this nature, and it's interesting. And I'll leave that there. Being aware of these internal systems, our systems, our emotional states, how much energy we have for the challenges of the day. These are important things to be aware of. And being aware of these things is what helps us maintain, or not maintain, but sustain homeostasis, our equilibrium in these environments, in these social environments, in these business environments, right? Anyway, well, so what are the trends? Well, what's happening? What's happening in this sector as we move towards holistic health approaches? What will be the influence on future developments in the urban planning and hospitality industries? Again, in that same vein, these wellness clubs and wellness initiatives in these urban settings, the luxury hotels, even some of the, I guess, middle range hotels have some of these options. Maybe not the IV drips, but there's some of these options are available. But yeah, what's on the what's in the future? What's on the landscape for this? Shifting gears just a bit. Let's have a wellness check. Wellness check. So what is wellness checking? Wellness check is simply where you take a moment and you reconnect with yourself to check that emotional battery. See how you're feeling. Give yourself some quiet space, a quiet moment. It could be a minute. It could be 45. Whatever it is that's necessary for you to reconnect with yourself. Just kind of gauge your intentions for your day, how close you are to, as it relates to your wellness. Not get into planning your financial, your school stuff. No, it relates to your wellness. Now, how am I doing? How do I feel? Or just giving this time to yourself as an opportunity to rejuvenate or recharge. I will always I will always refer to this as having a mindfulness moment. Whether you're focusing on breath or the body or sound, whatever it is, you are reconnecting with yourself and checking in. And I'll do the same at this moment as well. All right. So moving on, like I said before, shifting gears just a bit. We have noticed again, this is in the same vein. There's a surge in innovative mobile apps. Reading this here off the prompter. Okay, no games. Transparency, right? Designed to cater to various aspects of personal well-being. What are some notables? Have you guys heard of Better Me? Founded in 2016, Better Me offers a holistic approach to fitness and wellness with personalized plans that cover over 3,000 workouts, meal plans, and self-care challenges. This is a British company. At least I believe it's a British company. But yeah, and this is coming out of what article is this? This is actually December 11. What's the periodical? Give me 1 second. As we get slicker, we'll have some graphics. So I won't be doing this kind of stuff in here. But anyway, we'll play with that. All right. New year, new you, Better Me review. It's product reviews called. This is the Sun UK edition. The Sun. This was originally published June 26, 2024, with an update on the 11th of this month here in December 2024. So what are the pros here? Very easy to use, real workouts, accessible. What's the con? And I won't do this for all the rest of them, but since it's the first one we're talking about. A lot to track and do each day may become overwhelming. That's not good, but rating, it's not really good to hear that, but rating 4.5 out of 5. I always love the rating because, like, who's rating this stuff, man? Like, who are these people? Because sometimes you'll see a rating for something that looks good, and you'll go and you'll engage in it. You'll try it out, and it's like, yeah, this is not this isn't a 4.5 or 5. It's more like a 2. Better Me. I'm not saying this about Better Me. This is an app. I have not tried this app. I'm just bringing the information out there about the app. Okay, so in no way am I expressing any opinions about the app itself. I want to be clear there. So Better Me. That was probably bad framing on my part to say that in connection with that product, with their product, but whatever. Forgive me. Headspace, meditation app. I love meditation. Love mindfulness. It's a great thing. It's a great addition to your wellness journey, health journey, what have you. It's awesome. I'll make a plug here. We are coaches. We are mindfulness coaches, life coaches with the Maswi Holistic Institute, or MHI Wellness. And in that space, we incorporate mindfulness in our process of self-development and growth. In our behavioral health programs, we call it recovery. But anyway, the backdrop, the core of it is this self-awareness. Not just preoccupation with self, but just an understanding of self and awareness. And again, these check-ins, these emotional check-ins. But Headspace, meditation app. I've heard some good things. This is actually coming from the Woman and Home magazine. I guess it's an online periodical magazine. This is from January 14th, 2023. The article, the 10 best health apps to refresh your wellness routine in 2024. Interesting. All right. Here we go. An app called Calm. I've actually used this app. And I don't remember. It was a few years ago, a few years back. I don't remember how I felt about it. And I think, I know that since this is what I do, and I've been doing this for 30 years, I'm jaded a little bit into my own approaches, into what I've learned from a traditional stance. So I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I just don't think I needed it. I don't think it added anything to what I was doing. But for a neophyte, someone who's just getting into this process and wants to, I see these apps as a potential benefit. I do. All right, so that's Calm. So what we have: Better Me, Headspace, Calm. And this one thing here, I don't know if this fits in what I'm really talking about, but it's called NutriSense. It's a glucose monitor. I don't know. I'm not even going to go too far into that at all. That's not really the space that I'm in. Diabetes, yeah, we'll have conversations about health and nutrition and all that. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the efficacy is of having this, because I'm almost sure that there'll be some level of membership you'll have to subscribe to. And I say this because we purchased an EKG app for I think it was Android, and there's an app, but then there's a little pad that you buy. It's like $70. It's not expensive, and you can get a basic EKG reading, but for the more in-depth, not diagnostic, but I guess say diagnostic, there's a subscription necessary, which I think is fair. It's a product, you're selling a service, that's fine. I don't think it made sense for us necessarily for what we do here. Like, for example, to have this available and then share it with our clients. I don't think it was necessary for our process, but we test products out from time to time. Especially if we're in a project and we think these things might be a benefit for our work and the service that we provide, we'll test these products out and see how they can fit in our framework. And the EKG monitor, we'll put your fingers on it. It's pretty cool. And I would love to be able to share the name, and it just escapes me. As a matter of fact, let's do this. It's not going to. It is going to escape me. It is. I may have even deleted the application. But, in any event, if I find it, I'll definitely inform you guys. If anybody's interested, who knows. And then, finally, on our list of 5 applications, in no particular order, we didn't go through a whole slew of apps and then do some type of testing. These aren't in order of best value or anything of that nature, just a random assortment of apps, most popular based on this particular search that we use, or this algorithm. Okay, but then there's something called Reverie, a self-hypnosis app. I don't know. I think I actually might even. I think you know what? I think I'm going to try this one. We're going to take a look at this one, because it's self-hypnosis and this fits into this is my wheelhouse here. These are some of the things that we are engaged in when it comes down to like mindfulness and affirmations and mantras and things of that nature. I know it might be a loose connection for some to see, but I see a connection there. especially if you're doing a self-guided. And so if you're actually talking yourself through a meditative process, okay, it will fit almost exactly into a self-hypnosis script. Yes, self-hypnosis. Yes, I don't teach it, but I could teach it. But some of the things we do as far as guided meditation are fit in that space of a self-hypnosis process. So yes, this app might be beneficial in that space. We're going to find out. We're going to find out, and then we'll talk about it. Again, the app is Reverie, and we'll look at it. And this is coming out of what is this? Financial Times. Financial Times. And let me see. Title is what's the date first of all? Let's get to the date first. October 10, 2024. It's well-being and fitness section of this online periodical. And would you trust a self-hypnosis app? This is the title. Once an entertainment gimmick, subtitle. Once an entertainment gimmick, the practice is becoming a more powerful wellness tool. What I tell you, okay? So, yeah, and we're moving on, but we'll check wherever we are. Why not? You know, what can it hurt? Okay, and let's see. So, unique features of these health apps. How about personalized nutrition advice? That's interesting. There's an app called Zoe. Kind of a do-it-yourself health monitoring kit, I guess. Again, I haven't checked these things out. Just presenting information. Do the work. Check it out. Give it a try. I say that repeatedly on other social media outlets that we're on. Try it. What can it hurt? Before we dismiss things, before we say, you know what, that's not for me. As a matter of fact, the minute we say, nah, that's not for me, I think that's an indication we need to look at it. Just to test our assumptions. Just to stretch a little bit into a space that we're not familiar with, where we might be a little uncomfortable. Because that discomfort generally is a signal that we're growing. So let's turn towards it instead of turning away from it. Sometimes, if that works for you. Anyway, how about comprehensive wellness tracking? The Fitbit, everybody knows about the Fitbit. I think I bought a Fitbit a couple of years ago, and you know what? I actually bought it for sleep, for monitoring sleep. And yeah, it did what it was required to do. I've never used it to track steps or anything like that. I did use it to track my sleep, and it did provide some insights into the quality or the lack of quality that I was getting at night, as far as my sleep and my rest. So it was functional. Do I use it now? How long did that last? I think it probably lasted 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then I was done. But that's just me. That's just me. I got the information that I needed, and I figured out ways to adjust and address the deficiencies in my rest, and I addressed them and tested and found solutions, and now we're good. We're okay. And then we'll check in again. It's not a one and done. I still have the device, and I still have the app, and so we'll check in again. But as far as ongoing use, like again, I'm not tracking my steps. I don't use it when I walk or jog or anything like that. So, what have you. Anyway, and this is interesting though. And I'm going to, by the way, that's coming from the Consumer Research article, November 3rd. I'm sure this was an update from an older article. I'm not even going to look into it any further, but because Fitbit is old news, old technology. So this has been around for ages. Anyway, behavioral change support. Behavioral change support. Now, this is interesting. The idea of it. Now, I'm about to mention an application on app. This is not an endorsement, just an acknowledgement of its existence. I hope that's clear. Behavioral change support applications like Noom, never heard of you, Noom, focus on behavioral psychology to assist users in achieving weight loss and health goals by offering personalized meal plans. Okay, never mind. But no, never mind for me. Maybe for you. I thought it was going somewhere else. Thank you. Thanks, Tony. You snuck that in there on me, but that's okay. Appreciate your work. All right, let's see. Where are we now? Let's go. And finally, we'll close out with conversation about meditation and mindfulness, and not so much its value, because it's valuable, but what's some of the conversations? What's happening out there? Now there is a process called MBSR, mindfulness based stress reduction process. It is a process that was created, or let's say created, it was adopted or compiled. There you go. A process that was compiled by John Kabat-Zinn, I believe his name is, out of the University of Massachusetts. I would love to tell you what year it is. I don't have that information in front of me right now. We can find out. Why not? We do have the ability to search the world wide web here. Anyway, it's offered at a few places. The teacher training of it as well, and it's I know Brown University has a program. Then the University of San Diego has a program. Listen, I'm not endorsing anything. I'm just letting you know, if you don't already know, what is out there. But I was trying to see, when did John Kabat-Zinn introduce this process? And it really, it's not going to make or break the conversation at all. But so we're going to move on. I don't really care. And I mean that lovingly. I mean that compassionately. It doesn't really change the scope of our conversation right now. So, but there is extensive research. Let's say, well, extensive might not be the right word, but there's research that supports the efficacy of these mindfulness practices in general in enhancing various aspects of health and wellness. In that space as well, and this is not the same person. I think it's the University of San Diego. I really, you know what, and I understand that I need to have the data. Well, I want to have the data for you. And I don't want to go too far without the data. That's not fair to the viewer. I'll frame it this way. There is a mindfulness-based cognitive behavior therapy. There's a mindfulness-based self-compassion. When I say there are processes there are processes out here which certain groups have coined phrases and collected mindfulness practices that are available to all of us, and intermingled and then mixed them up into this thing, and then created something around it to authenticate their approach. It's a lot of verbiage. But in any event, it's there. I personally I am actually in an MBSR course currently through the Mindful Leader group. Interesting process nonetheless, and I'll speak more about that when it's done. I think there's like one or two more weeks in this 8-week process, and I'll speak more about that later. And anyway, but here we are. Now there is research about meditation and mindfulness in general that I'm not necessarily going to go too far in general today, but we'll touch on just some specific topics. One being the MBSR conversation. And so the MBSR and the MBCT, so mindfulness, behavioral stress reduction, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and then mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. These programs have demonstrated significant benefits in reducing stress, anxiety, and depression. Okay. So there was a review by the APA, American Psychological Association. It was a meta of 200 studies. Found that mindfulness-based therapy effectively alleviates these conditions: stress, anxiety, and depression. This comes from the APA, October 29. This is a meta study, and 200 studies were looked at. A research proven way to reduce stress. Interesting. You know what? And I could really go deep in this particular conversation here. But let's see. This is an article about the study, right? Much of the research on mindfulness has focused on two types. I don't know if that's true. I guess it depends on what country you're in. There is and I'll bring some of this out later on. There is a lot of data in the East, in India, for example, that looks at meditation. There's a lot of it, a lot of data. And as a one, you know what? Again, I'll bring the receipts. I won't just talk about stuff in the air. That's unfair. So anyway. Researchers reviewed, again, 200 studies of mindfulness among healthy people. And they found that mindfulness-based therapy was especially effective for, we said this already, reducing stress, anxiety, and depression. Mindfulness can also help treat people with specific problems, including depression, pain, smoking, and addiction. One of the reasons for the creation of the MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, was for people dealing with pain. And if you do the research and you look at the history of it, University of Massachusetts and John Kabat-Zinn, guess what? You'll find that information there. You'll find that this is, like I say, there are receipts there. There are receipts for this conversation. All right. What's more, mindfulness-based interventions can improve physical health too. Well, you can deal with stress and fatigue and I don't know the longevity of it, but also it lowers your heart rate. And there is an article, and I do have the receipts for this. I won't put it out there today, but you test me. There is evidence that specific breathing strategies in meditation can reduce, or have been shown to reduce, the size of the amygdala. By how much? By how much, we'll have to see. But in any way, changes our response to stress. That fight or flight mechanism. We'll talk more about that another time. But let's keep it focused on where we're going. Here. Let's see. And we won't go too far into how it works necessarily. Try it. I know that's not fair. Try it. Well, how do you try? What do? You check out some other videos that we have here. We talk about a couple of things you can do. There's a process I call the 4-8 breath. It's a great segue into the mindfulness process, and there's an immediate change in your state. You'll recognize it, you'll feel it, you'll see it. Now, mindfulness proper may not give you, or you may not feel that change so quickly. But when you incorporate different strategies, like mindful movement, mindful eating, right? Mindful thinking, talking, so forth and so on. You know, you give yourself, you set the stage for a much more comprehensive mindfulness performance in your life. If you catch my meaning. All right, I won't go too far into this. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. This is the APA 200 studies. Right, mindfulness-based therapies have been effective, are effective. See, beyond mental health, what else we have going on? Physical well-being. We were about to talk about that. So there's a study published in biological psychiatry. That was a tongue twister for some reason. I don't know why. But a study published in biological psychiatry revealed that participants trained in mindfulness meditation reported less pain and exhibited significant reduction in pain-related brain activity. This is New York Post again. Doing this for 20 minutes can get rid of pain. Study find. October 2nd, 2024. And what's the full title of this again? So, yeah, doing this for 20 minutes. That's what it says. By Rita Wiggle. Rita Wiggle. I hope I'm not butchering your name there, my friend. But yeah, it's interesting to check that out. Why not? The pain thing, I'm still unclear. I don't have any personal experience with the pain piece. Again, research says it. John Kabat-Zinn in this MBSR process was built off of that, approaching people in immense pain, so they can kind of get back to living. You know, so I don't know. I don't know how that works. I have no experience. I've been doing this 30 years. I don't have any experience with that in my personal life that I am aware of. I could be dealing with pains that I'm not aware of because of my practice. I really don't know. So I didn't start for that reason. Anyway, also there's another meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials indicated that mindfulness-based programs positively impact cognitive domains. Well, what cognitive domains? Well, attention and working memory. Definitely, we can see attention because mindfulness, one of the key components is focus. You know? So, okay. This is something called a Springer link. The effect of mindfulness-based programs on cognitive function in adults, a systematic review and meta-analysis. This is Neuropsychology Review. Neuropsychology Review, Volume 32. I will see, the graphics will be great right now, right? Volume 32, pages 677 to 702. We're not playing games here, folks. We are. I think I'm giving myself away because obviously this is my wheelhouse. This is the space that I like to be in. Definitely the space that I like to be in. Anyway. So, we're going to close out again with this. It's a little look at mindfulness research. Another APA article, neurobiological changes. Mindfulness meditation can alter brain structures and activity in the regions associated with attention and emotional regulation, suggesting a new neurobiological basis for its benefit. Chronic pain, we talked about the chronic pain. The effectiveness of mindfulness-based interventions on well-being. what is this? Well-being. This is from psychiatry. General psychiatry, effectiveness of mindfulness-based interventions on well-being of healthcare workers. A systematic review and meta-analysis. Very interesting in the sense that our hope and our goal, one of our goals here, is to embrace human service and healthcare workers in their pursuit of work-life balance. Managing, dealing with the trauma and the stress of other people. And then managing the blowback or the collateral psychological and emotional damage from that. It's a process. I mean, you must be able to manage that and process that in some way. Stress must be processed. Suppressing it doesn't work. Ignoring it doesn't work. Denying it doesn't work. Stress must be processed. If you ask us, mindfulness is, I keep forgetting to look at the camera. Mindfulness is a way to process stress, among a couple other things. Obviously looking into it, self-discovery, learning from stress, like learning different ways to perceive it, to see it as a growth opportunities, to see the stressing situations or the pain, the stomach, or upset, or the eating habits, or whatever that's going on that is a result of your stress that's not being processed, and how to manage those things. It's pervasive. It is pervasive. So let's see. Mindfulness-based interventions offer benefits for healthcare workers in terms of ameliorating stress and burnout-related symptoms, at least in the short term. I submit in the long term as well, because it needs to be a long-term process. Future work should also study the sustainability of such programs and their long-term effects. This is what we're talking about. This is a lifestyle shift. Remember the fad diets? They're still around. But remember the fad diet crazes of the 80s, early 90s? If you don't remember, all the rage. Remember people were going to get the shots. I think it was the amphetamine shot to burn fat. You guys remember that? Remember the coffee craze and all the caffeinated? They're still around. These remember ephedra? Might be. Some of you might be too young for that, but so the point I'm making is that fad diets don't work, crash diets don't work. Like cutting weight for a boxing match or wrestling match or whatever. These things are short-term fixes. Not even fixes, short-term practices. When we talk about mindfulness, when we mention mindfulness, when we mention breath work, we're talking about lifestyle shifts in how we use these tools as our process to manage stress, yes, but as a preventive. A daily practice, a regimen. So, like the lifestyle change and working out 3 or 4 days a week. We're not looking for an end goal. We're not looking at, I want to lose 20 pounds for the summer, or I want to get the abs in place. No, we're looking at thinking about it as strength for the long term. As we age, building connective tissue in our ligaments so that we're able to stand as we get older, as we're able to walk and grab and use things and things of that nature, right? That's what we're talking about. So in mindfulness space, we're talking about lifestyle shifts and using mindfulness as a part of how we live. Mindful movement, breath, meditation, eating, holistically, everything we do. Okay. Yeah, I gave myself away. That's my space. But this is what we're going to be doing. And every Friday, let's put it out there. Let's manifest it every Friday afternoon. And we'll go live at some point. We'll go live. I won't give a date for that. But we want to get some tracks. Let's get some tracks. Let's get some conversations. Because then we'll have to go back and do some editing. But this is my brother Mazwi. This is our health and wellness updates here in 777 Radio, God Dimension. Not got to mention, but God Dimension. I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way, and that's okay. If you want to know the meaning of it, stick around, and we'll explain it at some point. Episode 1, closing. Peace and blessings, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy your week. Take care of yourselves.